Welcome to Down the Road with me, Joel Heitkamp. You know what? We've been a state since November 2nd here in North Dakota, 1889. I'm pretty comfortable about that date. And one of the reasons I never forget November 2nd is because it's my birthday. So that one's not hard to remember. But in those years that we've been a state, never has a North Dakota legislature been expelled. Never has a North Dakota legislator been asked to pack up and go back home, because you know what? You don't belong here. Your actions warrant the fact that the body itself needed to hold this hearing and say, you no longer can be a state representative. Yesterday that happened. There was a full committee hearing on the floor of the House in North Dakota. And then after that, it went to a debate on whether or not to pass the resolution or the bill that was put forth by the Republican leadership. One of those individuals that spoke to it and has taken a strong stance on advocating on behalf of women not being sexually abused, whether it be physically or mentally, is Shannon Roars-Jones, state representative from South Fargo. I asked her to come on, and she's willing to do that. Representative Roars-Jones, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thanks for having me, Joel. I appreciate the time.
I was talking about history. I was talking about how historic this is. I know that was on the minds of many legislators yesterday. Give me your take on leading into what happened on the floor. Give me your take on what was going through your mind and others and went into the preparation for it, Shannon.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this has been an issue that has been building since Luke Simons, Representative Simons, and I were both elected in 16. Our first session was 2017. And the issues have come up and you know, been addressed in one way, shape, or form for a period of now 4.5 years. And what we saw really come to a head was last week before our crossover break. There was an explosion, a reaction that happened between Representative Simons and some female legislators about face masks. That led to the open records request, where really we were able to see how many more situations existed than anyone ever knew about. You know, I had had some encounters, other legislators had had some encounters, and everyone had some example of misconduct, but the compilation that occurred after the open records request of all of this, and then other people reaching out and saying, well, I have a story too. That's what really led to the culmination of events that happened yesterday. So our leadership introduced a resolution to expel Representative Simons. I think that had there been some indication that there was some remorse or openness to changing behavior on the part of Representative Simons, I think we could have done a censure of him. But unfortunately, when we started the process, that didn't exist. And you know, throughout last night and today, talking to a number of our other colleagues in the legislature and who serve in the Capitol, that's the one theme that really seems to be carrying across people's conversations is if he had just had some level of remorse or taken responsibility of some of these actions, because, you know, whether or not you believe every single thing that he was accused of happened, everyone knows that some of them did. And so, you know, I know situations that I have been a party to. I know situations that other people have been a party to. And it's really the cumulative effect of all of these things which helped us as legislators recognize that this was not a problem that was going to go away with additional counseling. And that's why expulsion had to be the option.
Well, your leadership, in fairness to them, you know, we made an open records request at the station that I work in radio. KFGO asked for the files or any information that was there. We didn't know it was there. The information came to us, and it was exactly what you just said. It was multiple cases of exactly what was talked about on the floor of the North Dakota House yesterday. And it shocked me. It absolutely shocked me. 14 pages. Now, the one thing you say, if there had been an apology, if there had been an effort, you know, it went beyond that, because your leadership in the House had approached him before. They had taken him up to the North Dakota Legislative Council. They had sat down with Legislative Council leadership, and all of this was made aware to him. And so when you make the argument that he wasn't willing to listen or change, I think you're spot on. He had plenty of opportunity, Representative Royce Jones.
Yeah, and that's really the key issue here. I know a lot of the people who are supporters of Representative Simon say that there was no due process. And that was one of the points I tried to make in the speech that I gave yesterday is on one side of things, this is not a criminal conviction. It's not even a civil case. So there's not that that substantive due process right that comes, and I won't get into all of the court history, but office holders aren't entitled to a due process right to their office. It's not a property interest. But the point that I tried to make is this is not a one strike and you're out situation. Representative Simons has been counseled 3 times that we know of in the documentation that was made available by the open records request. I have talked to him previously on a one-on-one situation. Representative Pyle had talked to him previously in a one-on-one situation, and we believe that with our previous legislative leadership in other sessions that he had been counseled at that time too, although we don't have the documentation about that. The point is he was fully aware that his conduct, that his comments, the way that he stared at women made women uncomfortable. And rather than changing that behavior, he just changed his targets.
I want to talk about what happened in that chamber yesterday. I know with the side of this that you're on, and the case that you and others made from the floor of the House yesterday, you must be very proud of your leader, Chet Pollard, the majority leader, and how he stood firm, never gave in to any of these amendments, never gave in to what he thought should happen. I mean, there was a lot of amendments offered on the floor yesterday, and Chet and your caucus from your side of the aisle, I don't want to say side of the aisle, but certainly your side of the issue, you held firm. Those were voted on. And so give me a take on that. As you saw the votes counted up, did you get more confident that you had the votes to accomplish the goal you set out?
First I want to commend the leadership on both sides of the aisle, because this was not a Republican versus Republican or Democrat versus Republican issue. I know that Representative Simons and some of his supporters tried to make this a political issue about his ideology and about us women and others in the Legislative Council disagreeing with his political ideology. That was the farthest thing from the truth. This was about protecting women from bad conduct on the part of one member, regardless of that member's ideology. But going back to your comments with regard to Representative Pollard, I couldn't have been more pleased to work with him and proud of our rapport and relationship on the floor yesterday. Not only did he stand firm with the recommendation to expel Representative Simons when we weren't certain if we would have the votes or not. When we began the floor session and even probably halfway through, it was not clear if we had all of the votes that we needed. And Representative Pollard got the women in the legislature who were affected by this involved and made sure that they were comfortable and on board with whatever course of action we were taking. And that was, it was really just really helped kind of solidify that he understood the situation and wanted to make sure that it was dealt with in a way that would satisfy the women who were affected by the situation.
You know, there's another thing that stuck out to me. I didn't get a chance because I was in a business meeting to see you address the situation. I understand you give an absolutely great speech and made the case. But Brandy Pyle, and she's been on the road with us here as we went down the road. Brandy Pyle, a state representative from the Castleton area, stood and looked him right in the eye and said, basically that he's not going to call her a liar. She's not going to let that happen. And that her daughter in the balcony is not going to see that she's not going to let her think she accepted that. And that was a strong moment, Representative Royce Jones. So give me your take on that, because it really stuck out to me.
That was, so just contextually, we started with all of the proponents for the expulsion resolution. We all had the first period of time to talk, and then all of the opponents went, and it ended with Representative Simons having the opportunity to speak his portion and his testimony to the committee. And that the part that was really difficult to listen to, and the fact that we didn't have a rebuttal at that point, was the fact that Representative Simons basically dismissed out of hand all of the things that he was accused of having done. And, you know, despite the fact that there were multiple witnesses to some of the incidents that we referred to. And so once we got past the motion, there was a do pass motion that was made, and we had an opportunity to have some debate on, perhaps it was earlier, maybe it was during the amendments that were offered, but when we had the opportunity to have some debate, Brandy got up and really stated strongly that I'm not going to allow you to call me a liar, and talked about the fact that we do this with witnesses in committee hearings all the time. We take testimony from one side, we take testimony from the other, and never do we call out either side of the testimony as lying, right? We might weigh in our own minds their credibility or the facts that they present, but we never call out someone who's testifying as a liar, and that was wholly inappropriate on Representative Simons' part.
You know, the other thing that stuck out to me was this wasn't some rancher, Western North Dakota attitude. They were just as upset as anyone when it came to the actions of Representative, or no longer Representative, Simons. But, you know, there were votes in the East for him. I mean, the Koppelmans, Jim Casper, Kim Koppelman was chosen to be the chairman of the committee that oversaw the debate before you moved into a recommendation and the vote. And it's my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm gone, is as Speaker of the House, that was a pretty easy choice. And he was only chosen to do this by one vote. Am I wrong about that? And if so, why do you think that is? I mean, that's kind of a slap in the face for the Speaker.
Well, I don't know all of the inner workings of how the process was set up. I had heard that we were maybe going to have one or two other people as the chairman of the committee of the whole, which is the subgroup that considers the resolution. You know, the Speaker of the House could have been one of those people, but I believe they were actually considering one or two other people. One reason I think that might be the case is because that Speaker Koppelman's son, Ben Koppelman, representative from West Fargo, was one of the leaders of the opposition to the expulsion resolution, and so there may have been a bit of a conflict there. But what ended up happening was Speaker Koppelman made a request that someone, if they wanted a vote on him being the chairman of the committee of the whole, that someone could make a resolution for there to be a vote. And of course, then, I'm sorry, a motion. Someone did then make a motion from the floor, and we had a vote, and it was, like you said, a very close vote. It only passed by one vote, and we had one member at that moment that was absent. So, you know, had he been there, I think it maybe would have been defeated, and the situation would have been different. Ultimately, I don't know that it made a difference in how the proceeding was handled, but it was kind of an interesting dynamic to start the situation out.
I want to talk about the board flippers, because you see this. You see people who took a position and something this historic, all of a sudden they flop. It's like they look at the board, they know their position is lost, so now they're going to vote yes and buy themselves insurance. There were three of them that I saw that took a real strong stance on behalf of Representative Simons, but in the end did the flip. Talk to me about that. You must have noticed that.
I did notice that, and you know, it's difficult when you see that when someone is kind of can see the handwriting on the wall, and it's an opportunity for some political cover, right? You know, we're opposed to the expulsion. We think there's no due process. They stand up. They rail against the thing that they feel is so wrong, the thing that is about, you know, that is about to happen. And so what ended up happening is we have two votes. We had the vote within the committee for the recommendation for a do pass, or the alternative would be a do not pass on the resolution. So on that do pass motion, we had 66 people who voted yes for the do pass recommendation. And then when that went to the full assembly, when the committee was dissolved, we had 69 people who voted for actual expulsion. And so those representatives, can't remember if you named them, but Kempinick, Kading from Fargo, and Vetter from Grand Forks, they all changed their votes, despite the fact that they had Kading and Vetter, I believe, both spoke against what was occurring as being, a violation of Representative Simon's rights. And so I struggle with, if you feel so passionately about that, why the flip at the end?
Not exactly what I would define as political courage. I'll leave you out of that because they're still your caucus members. I have to ask this before I let you go and get back to work. Did you feel safe? Did you feel safe on the floor of the House and walking off that House and walking in the Great Hall?
I would say I did. Generally, I don't fear for my safety. We did take some extra precautions yesterday as we were leaving, just because it was a very heated event. We walked out, in groups rather than individually. We had our highway patrol, who is normally there in the Capitol with us. We had some extra people in the chamber. We had extra people on standby. So were something to have gotten more escalated than it did, we had one person shout out from the balcony, and that was, gavelled out of order, and that was all that happened. But beyond that, it was well orchestrated so that I did feel very comfortable. We took just a few extra precautions, but there was nothing that ended up happening either inside or outside of the Capitol that we needed to be worried about. Now, the one thing I will say is the hate posts and the hate emails and texts still continue. Representative O'Brien is taking the brunt of that. And that's something that is to be expected, and we obviously deal with. But when those things rise to a level of a threat, then we do get law enforcement involved.
As they should be. And I can tell you, as a talk show host, I'm used to it. But when they do come in as a threat, you do got to deal with it, and you got to take them seriously. I realize you got to get back to work, but as a man who's got 2 daughters and 5 granddaughters, I just have to tell you this. Thank you. Thank you for what you did.
Well, I appreciate your work in kind of bringing some light to the issue. It's one of those things that the more we talk about it, the more we hear about the situations that exist. Even as we were on the floor debating this issue yesterday, more people were sending me instances, stories of their encounters, inappropriate encounters with Representative Simons or former Representative Simons. And so it's the more we talk about it, the more people get comfortable expressing the things that have happened to them.
Yep. Representative Shannon Roars-Jones, thanks for coming down the road with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joel.
When we come back, I'll give you some thoughts and some sounds of what happened. Not everybody could watch. I could, and I've got some clips for you when we come back as we head down the road.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
You know, we mentioned earlier the courage of the individuals who stood on the floor of the North Dakota House and made a historic moment. Stood up for women and made the case that Luke Simons, and I'm not going to say Representative Luke Simons because he's no longer that. He was expelled from the House yesterday, but that Luke Simons should no longer be in that chamber. One of the individuals that stuck out to me was Brandy Pyle. State representative from the Castleton area. And she talked about her daughter being in the audience. Take a listen to this. Clip one, guys.
My 13-year-old daughter is here today in the gallery. This week was supposed to be her special time with Mom at work during her spring break. Instead, she's getting a reminder that even as adults and as elected officials, we still have to deal with unwanted sexual harassment and bullying. And we can't stand for that. And I hope now and forever will be a moment in her life that she will remember. One where she was watching her mom standing on the floor of the North Dakota House of Representatives to defend what is right.
Now we can go over the accusations. We can take a look at all of that. We can look at the disgusting behavior and some of what was said. But, you know, she closed with this. Take a look at clip number 3.
As individuals, we have the choice on our moral code and our actions to reflect that code. This isn't a written code, it's an internal code with external implications. My code, I will not stand to be minimized for something less than what I am and what I stand for. Right now, there's a lie that's being perpetrated. It is that this is a political attack because the representative is being ultra-conservative. We have members who are just as or more conservative, and they have no such accusations against them. The truth is that this is about continued unwanted comments and actions of one person. And our daughters and granddaughters are watching. Let's make sure they know that we don't think harassment is acceptable and that we are willing to stand up to prevent them from continuing it in our State House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
She wasn't the only one. Representative Pyle wasn't the only one who stood and made that argument. In fact, you could take a real look at Emily O'Brien, state representative from Grand Forks, and make the argument that she was the one that kind of hit the ball out of the park and really made the point. Take a listen to clip 5 here.
Please look over to the Speaker's floor desk located in the front corner of the chamber. That is where I sat during my first legislative session. That is where I faced unwarranted comments, asked what I would be wearing that day, approached that my pants were too tight and supposedly made others uncomfortable. That is where I sat after I started wearing dresses, only to begin receiving comments again, and the ever-present leering comment, "So, what are you wearing today?"
Now, it isn't fair to have this conversation and not hear from Representative Simons himself and the case that he brought. So take a listen to clip 11 here.
In fact, I didn't know much about this whole so-called trial until just a couple hours ago. If we think, as a majority of Republicans, I'm not asking for favors from Democrats, if we think that that's fair, well, I'm sure a lot of your constituents would ask questions about that.
We can go on and on. I mean, we can give you a number of different points, but I think the point is made. When we come back, we're going to talk about one heck of an auction that's going to be happening, the Sacred Heart Convent Estate Sale. Let's talk about it when we come back here as we go down the road.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Thanks for staying in the rig and continuing to go down the road with us. Julie Hilgers. Now that's Triple J Estates or Estate Sales. Now there's a big sale going on. The Sacred Heart Convent Estate Sale is taking place, and we wanted to talk to her about it. Maybe some of you folks see something you want to buy. Julie, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thank you very much.
Talk to me about the sale. What's this all about, and who are you working hard for?
Well, I'm working hard for the Presentation Sisters. They're at the Sacred Heart Convent. They are lovely women. There's about 17 of them now. There used to be quite a few more. They are moving. Most of them are moving into Rosewood on Broadway and Rosewood Square. They just need to liquidate their items. They can't take it with them, and they are just getting rid of anything and everything, from commercial kitchen equipment to antique furniture that was given to them that used to be on the old convent on North Broadway, and even before that.
See,
Tons of things.
that's what's so interesting to me, and obviously to others, is the unique items that are going to be sold here. The things that are like, wow, because there is such a rich history. Give people an example.
There's a dining room table that is, we believe, from the 1800s, early in the 1800s, and it's a Jamestown feudal oak dining table. It's got 8 chairs, it's all hand carved, a matching buffet. It sells at a set because we can't bear to let it go separately. That's the table there. It is just absolutely beautiful. That rug is a almost 14 by 29 foot rug. It's amazing. There's one small hole in it, but for as old as it is, that was given to them years ago, they were going to have it cleaned, and the rug cleaner said, do not touch that.
You can tell the sisters didn't have children or
Right.
grandchildren.
Because everything's in good shape.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, what we were just looking at is the wow factor.
Mhm.
I mean, it really is. It's the wow factor. Tell me why. Why are they, moving? Why is it a different day with the Presentation Sisters?
My understanding is that there's not a lot of new up-and-coming nuns that are signing up to become the sisters, and their mission will still continue because they have a number of people, even locally, who are supporting those same missions. Their associates are continuing that as well. Most of the sisters are in their 70s to 80s. There's a few that are in their 90s. And it's just kind of time. The building itself is 30,000 square feet. There's just so much in it, and it is full. It's 3 floors full. They had a beauty salon, a library. At one time, they had a massage room because one of the sisters was a masseuse. I would go there. It's just amazing. And
Is there anything that you put forth on this bill that they didn't know the history of?
No. 90% of everything they knew the history. I mean, there's Sister Mary Margaret is a wonderful lady, and she's so much fun, and she has the wealth of knowledge. It's unbelievable, the things that they retain from things that when they first got there they recall and remember of where these items came from, how they got them.
See, that's what's really cool, because I'm assuming that that's going to be part of this. That
Yes.
you can walk around, you get a chance to visit, you can ask what the history is of a piece, This reminds me of Antique Roadshow. Is what it reminds me of. This reminds me of one of those rare opportunities where it's like, wow, I wish I would have known about that.
Right. There's one picture. This is the beauty salon, and then this is the library. It's amazing. They have fiction, nonfiction, beautiful, beautiful sofa table books. They have one of the pictures that they have, that's a rotating bookcase. That is from early 1900s, if not 1800s. It is fabulous. I would like it, but it's a little high.
It's going to go a little high.
It's going to go a little high.
Yeah.
And this is about a 3.5-foot statue of Our Lady of the Lords. It's marble. It survived the 1957 tornado of Fargo. There's a couple of cracks along the bottom. And some of the pieces actually did survive from their chapel that they had by Shanley. And one of the pictures has holes in it from where it went through the trees or something.
Okay.
And they found it later.
Really?
And it was painted by one of the sisters from eons back.
Was this from the tornado or what?
Yeah,
was
from
it?
the tornado
Okay.
in 57.
So the history of that, which
Mhm.
was, as we know, tragic.
Right,
Exactly what
absolutely.
happened. Guys, if there's any other clips, go ahead and put them up, and then Julie can, and there may not be, but then Julie can kind of give us a rundown or just a fun look at.
Yeah, and so these are just different candles that they had in their different chapels that they've used, and everything here at the sale is priced individually. It's not an auction, so you just come in and you either put it in your shopping bag as you go. We have shopping bags and boxes for people to take along with them as they travel around. This particular one is Mozart playing for the Cardinal. He's in the red, and this is from North Broadway, which was in 18-something that building was built. In the very small corner of it, it's got an imprint that is from 1899. And if this were a true oil painting, it would be about $20,000.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. How can you estimate these things? I look at the nativity set here.
Yeah, that's a hand-carved nativity set. It is just beautiful. That one we have priced at $148. We go into different sites. We have about 5 or 6 different sites that we go to figure out what we should price on the things that we don't know. This is an old umbrella stand. That's over 100 years old. They had that on the North Broadway. It is just beautiful. But like you said, no kids. It's in perfect shape.
Look at that walking stick.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of what would have happened with that back when I was young.
Right, right.
But how do you determine what price to put on?
We research, and so we go through eBay of what's sold on eBay. If we find a similar or exact item, we go by WorthPoint, which is another website that you subscribe to. That is national, so sometimes it's a California price, so we have to adjust it for our local area. But there's about 4 or 5 different sites that we use that if we need. We also have a number of people who are specific kind of experts.
So this isn't what I'd call a silent auction. This isn't a, hey, you go in, you fill out a sheet, and then somebody else. This is priced.
This is
like
priced. Kind of like a glorified garage sale, actually.
Right.
Yep.
Well, it's a little more than my garage
A little bit
sale.
more, yeah. And then we allow people to place bids on items. So anything over $50, if they don't want to pay, say it's $300, and they don't want to pay $300, and they're willing to chance it at the end of this first weekend, because it's full price for the first weekend, we take bids. So anything, if they bid $151 and you're the winning bidder, we call you on Sunday night and let you know that you are the winning bidder and you have the item and come pick it up.
So if you pay the $300 as it's marked though,
then you
that's
get
a high you're going to have to pay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. And
How many items? I mean, if you had to guess, just put a guess out there.
10,000, easily.
That many.
Yeah, because they have silverware and spoons and glassware. We have sets of 10 glassware. We have brand new champagne glasses that are in the boxes that I'm sure they've probably been used once or twice, but they're still in the boxes, and linens. And
you're going to have people from all over the country.
We've been getting phone calls from everywhere. One gentleman called me, said he's going to wait in line at midnight.
Can they do this online at all?
No.
That's
too
the
hard
reason
to
we
do
needed
it
to
online.
talk.
Yeah,
exactly.
So we've done sales that have been online only, especially during COVID, and that's kind of a little bit more difficult, but it's still quite a few local people, because shipping becomes an issue, and that adds an extra charge. But
sure, not only that, but this way, when they walk out the door, you get paid.
Right. There you go. And the sisters get paid.
And the sisters are going to be walking around giving people
I hope so. I know it's going to be hard for them to be there and see their things leave and see people. So, I'm sure we'll have a few of them there, and they're amazing, and they will be very helpful.
So when does this run?
Run Saturday and Sunday. Saturday 9 to 6, Sunday 10 to 6, because they have church earlier than that.
And where's it at?
And then at Sacred Heart Convent, 1101 32nd Avenue South. Then
In
next
Fargo.
weekend we have half price is Saturday, so what's left over is half price, and Sunday is clearance day of 75% off, or we start negotiating.
Give people the website.
estatesales.org. Type in zip 58103 and it'll pull it up.
I just hope my wife doesn't go.
I hope she does. Give me your number. I'll call
Julie,
her.
thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
When we come back, Julia Cole is going to join us. You know what? ND Country Fest. It's going to be fun for a lot of people. She's going to be one of the performing artists. So stick around. We're having some fun as we head on down the road.
Howdy, folks. It's the Caroline Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our Hey Bossin' breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at our salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Caroline burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spur rattling pie with a cum roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
Good to have you still coming down the road with us. I've been going to ND Country Fest and doing radio out there for quite some time. This event has taken off. The first year that I was there, 8,000 people. The next year, 18,000 people. And I can guarantee you this, it's going to be more this year. People are ready to break out. They really are. And, of course, we're hearing now that anybody that wants a shot, by the time May rolls around, will have had a shot. And so, boom. That's a big part of all of this. Julia Cole is one of those artists that you're going to pay attention to. You're really going to pay attention to. My producer in radio went to see her last night. I was there for a little while, but I'm old, so I had to leave and go to bed so I could make sure I made it to work on time. But, you know, my producer said she hit the ball right out of the park, and she's nice enough to join us right now. Julia, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
All right. How you liking North Dakota so far?
I love it, and I can't believe that I've had the weather that I've had while I've been here.
Yeah.
This is insane. I know. I'm so lucky.
It actually has been a pretty good winter. We had about 10 days there that made you wonder at times why you lived here. But other than that, it's been okay.
Oh, my gosh. I can imagine. Because I'm from Houston, Texas, and right now everyone in Texas is freaking out about the freezes.
Right.
And
How long were you
crazy.
without power?
So my parents were without power for probably a week and had a few pipes busted. My grandparents almost had like the floor cave in from flooding.
Yeah.
Like the
Pipes burst.
second floor. Yeah. Just some craziness. And people without fireplaces had no heat.
Sure.
I mean, it was bizarre.
Weather can be
the,
vicious.
Yeah, it felt like we were 100 years in the past. Like, it was wild.
Julia, when you look at your body of work, I mean, why? Why'd you wake up some morning and say, you know what, this is how I want to spend my life?
Well, this is the weird story of how I got into music, but I got my start singing national anthems for my own volleyball and basketball games, and it kind of spread to everything in Houston, so I started to sing for the Houston Texans, the Astros, Houston Dynamo, NASA, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and when I was in front of 75,000 people with jets flying over and I wasn't nervous, that's when I knew this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and gosh, I've always loved to write, so now I get to just kind of pair up writing with music and write songs, and it's kind of a dream come true.
You know, there's a lot of different kinds of music, a lot of different kinds of country music. Who's yours? I mean, when you look to the artist that you look at and say, that's me, that's who I want to be, who do you look to?
You know, it's never been just like one artist, and I grew up kind of in the suburbs of Houston, so we had a bunch of Texas country around us, and then we also had, you know, hip-hop, soul, pop, everything coming from downtown on the opposite side. So it's kind of a blend of all sorts of different music, but I really love vocalists. So like Gary LaVox from Rascal Flatts and Whitney Houston, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, those people are who I listened to the songs growing up, and I just tried to keep up with the vocal acrobatics they were doing because it was just so much fun. So I think a lot of influence from those different artists.
See,
you
I
can
think,
hear in my
I
music.
think to pigeonhole an artist that you're country and you have to be country, your influence was country, I don't think that's fair. I think that people learn, like for me personally, I'm very passionate about music. You know, I'll listen to the blues one day. The next day I could be listening to jazz. The next day I could be listening to classic country, or I could be listening to you.
It's all about the mood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And how quick you can change.
So true. Some days
you're like that.
You're having like a good Sunday morning in the sun. And you're like, I'm gonna put on some good country music. But then you're like about to be out playing a sports game, and you need some like pump up music.
Yep.
So you're gonna put on some rock or some hip hop or whatever. It's like, it's nice to have different genres to pick from. And I also think it's just kind of the era of people being able to create their own playlists.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like TBT to the iPod, but I think the iPod kind of started it, where people were able to put whatever song they wanted next, and it was like, that's when you started to see, you know, Lady Antebellum next to Beyonce in a playlist. Yep. It's like, oh, okay, that's allowed now.
But it works.
Yeah, it does.
At times it works. You said you love to write.
Love to write.
You love to write your own music?
I do. I love to wordsmith. I just think that there's so much power in being able to put an entire emotion into relatively a few words and still somehow get that in 2.5 to 3 minutes across to help people's lives be better, you know?
Does it just come to you? I mean, do you sit there and, you know, Willie Nelson was talking about how he wrote a song on the back of a, for lack of a better way of putting it, the back of a barf bag in an airplane. You know, I mean, how when it strikes, it strikes.
It
I mean,
does. It does.
Is that the way it works with you?
It is. Sometimes the lyrics just fall out, and sometimes it keeps me up at night to the point where I'm upset because I'm like, I have a busy day tomorrow and I can't sleep because all these song ideas keep popping into my head, and you're going to kick yourself tomorrow if you don't write them down, because you're not going to be able to just rethink of them. You know, you're not going to remember them. So I'll be up at 3, 4 in the morning just writing down these ideas that you can't stop from happening. Like, I think songwriters are just, it just happens to you. The songs just appear in your head. I don't know how to explain it really.
Do you know when you've got something that people are going to want to hear and it'll connect? Because, you know, as passionate as you are, you might write something that feels good to you, but you know that it's not sellable.
Yeah.
You know that it's not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know when this one connected, that one just is very personal?
It's really fun to get to go out and play these live shows, because that's when you really see who's connecting to what. But it is interesting, the things that will work on like playlists or on public platforms and stuff, sometimes it's not the song you thought was going to work. And I've learned to stop trying to guess and to just put the music out and let people decide for themselves. And I'm telling you, I did not know that Side Piece was going to blow up. I had no clue. And even the song before that, Trust You, my first one that hit 1 million streams, I had no clue that that one was going to blow up. I was just like putting out a song just to keep, you know, some content going. And then somehow it caught. And there's a song that I put out that's dedicated to my grandma and my mom. It's really for all the moms and grandmas out there. And I thought this one was going to just, every mom and grandma around the world was going to be, oh, I can't wait to hear this one. And it probably has, you know, less streams than most of my other stuff.
Sure.
So you never know which one's going to work.
But it doesn't matter because your mom and your grandma love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I still sing it at all my shows, and it's, you know, but you do hear that pretty often where an artist is like, well, this is my favorite song and no one's ever heard it, but I'm going to play it for y'all tonight.
You know, there's a lot of people that are watching you right now that when you say the word streams, they might not get that. So explain that to them, how it's a good barometer.
Well, I guess it's just a way that you can kind of look at the numbers right in front of you and see how many people have actively gone and searched out that song to listen to it and have added it to their playlist or have added it to, you know, what they're going to listen to on the way to work in the morning or on their way to bring their kids to soccer practice or whatever it is. And having a larger number obviously means more people are listening to it and connecting with it. And Side Piece, that song, it's a good old Nashville cheating song, and it blew up. I'm going to tell you, people are passionate about that.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it one bit. Let's talk about ND Country Fest, because this is getting to be such a big festival. What's it like to play with some of the headliners there?
It will never get old. It's so cool getting to learn from them, because a lot of times we just hang out backstage before the shows, and they'll kind of tell me, hey, look, I was exactly where you are a few years ago. So keep going, keep working hard. This is going to work out. And it's really motivational to, hear that from them and have them believe in you and things like that. And I think Indie Country Fest is going to be just as fun. I'm playing the same day as Brantley Gilbert.
Yeah. And like you said, for me personally, I've listened to I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when they opened it.
No way.
Yeah, it was
That's so cool.
1995, and we
Wow.
had seats 25 rows from the front. And we just got lucky, is what we got. But, what I see when you talk about artists that support each other and love playing with each other, it's true. But I think country music is even stronger with that.
It's a family. It
Yep.
truly is. And I've never seen anything like it, because I've been to LA and I've been to New York and I've seen all this. But the way that Nashville is such a community, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. People truly are a family. And we all spend so much time on the road that sometimes seeing each other backstage is that sense of home. That is like, it's the Nashville family that we get to be with when we're not in Nashville.
Yeah. The other thing is, when I was talking to you on the radio, it didn't take long to find out more about you online. Tell people where to go.
So all my socials are at Julia Cole Music, and you can text me. My number is 281-336-9956, and it's also in all my bios on everything. And website's juliacolemusic.com.
And I can tell you this, I trust my producer. She loved your work last night. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
When we come back, some closing thoughts. Indie Country Fest, though, folks. Check it out. You can see their lineup. Do the Google, as I joke around about. But Indie Country Fest is a place you're going to want to go to in New Salem, North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
You know, it's always fun to hop in and go down the road with you. The big fight in D.C. is over the stimulus bill, right? I mean, that's one of the things they're talking about. Here's what I would ask you to do, because you think, okay, there's so much money being spent. Go back to 2017 and see where the priorities of one party were versus the other party before you make too strong of a judgment. Well, what you're going to see is trillions put into tax breaks for corporations. Now, I'm sorry, but it should jump out at you, and I think it will. You're also going to see billions of tax breaks for the wealthiest among us, that 1% and down. So everybody that makes, I should say 1% and up, those individuals that are the top earners in this country got a huge tax break with that 2017 package. Now, the point I'm trying to make is this. The new stimulus bill goes from $600 to each person to $2,000 per each person. The new stimulus bill focuses on housing units and everything in relation to below $70,000. So what you have is two different philosophies. Money for the rich, going to trickle down. Over here, money for the modest, and that's going to go up. Give them some money, they're going to go out. They're going to buy that TV. They're going to do the things that they need to do. So, you know, this new stimulus bill is a lot of money. I'm glad they took minimum wage out of it. I really am. I'm glad that they took minimum wage out of it. I think that's a whole separate debate. I think it's a debate that really needed to happen alone. But I'm glad there's things in there for a lot of people that are viewing this right now. A lot of people that get up in the morning and don't make $1 million a year. Because you know what? Those that make $1 million a year don't need it. They don't. And so compare the two. Just compare the two and see what you think. It's always good riding with you folks. You know what? We'll see you down the trail.